I've been trying to get our next guest in here for a couple weeks now. I've had a lot of time. I've had that much time to prepare for him, but quite frankly, I didn't prepare anything. Why is that? Because I have no doubt that this interview is going to be absolutely insane, regardless of anything I might ask or say. We have, live in the flesh, a real-life motel owner. Been to his awesome establishment, the Flamingo Motel, multiple times. My Pure XXX video was not only filmed there, but he played sax. Very great sax player on the track as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna call it like I see it. We have Eric the Motel Owner here with us tonight. Eric, come on out. Yes sir, yes sir. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Nice seeing you.
Why don't you take a seat right there, and I reckon that you heard me, and gee, we got to speak a little bit before we got into this just now. You got all the stories. I think we're gonna have to have you on multiple times just to get through all of them. You might want to check later. I'm gonna upload an extra where he talks about Guyana and Jonestown and Georgetown and all that kind of craziness and macaws. We got a really awesome stories. But first and foremost, kind of told everybody you own the Flamingo Motel. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, when did you get into the motel business? What drew you to it, and what are your thoughts on it now?
Well, my dad built the motel in 1952. With my mother, he was 35, she was 17. And I remember him talking about how when they delivered the lumber out front on the lawn back then, that my mother got a sliver in her ass.
Did you pull it out at least?
I don't know. My dad was basically self-made. He grew up in Hamtramck. And he was the only 14-year-old that was driving a car around in Hamtramck. Some older, meaning 18, 19-year-old girls thought was attractive.
A Sicilian occupation?
Yeah.
Which one would that be?
Like a mobster or like a gangster?
Well,
or something?
okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, that's not a proper word. That's not a good
OC.
nomenclature.
We use the word OC.
To keep that from happening any further, he firebombs my dad's car. So he's got a pilot's license, and then Hitler invades Poland. So when we entered the war, World War II, my dad became a Navy pilot. So he was stationed in Hawaii 2 or 3 weeks after Pearl Harbor. Being a Navy pilot, he was also stationed there with George Bush. George Bush was 17, my dad was 19. Now George Bush's grandfather was a congressman in Maine. And you want to make sure that little Georgie didn't get hurt in any way, shape, or form, that he had a Marine sergeant with him as his bodyguard the whole time. And my dad was telling me that one time they were wearing their Navy whites, which is the most formal thing that you can wear for some event. And George Bush was in the middle of this intersection street, which was a dirt at the time. And he was out there with some little black kid dancing like an idiot. He was getting his whites dirty. My dad thought that was an insult, walked over to him, and told him you shouldn't be doing that with your Navy whites on. And I guess he did people to Frank Sinatra. That's what George Bush did. He sicked his Marine sergeant on my dad. A little spoiled kid. You know? That's the way he was. Now, Battle of Midway comes up. They sacrificed the Navy pilots for a cause. I mean, they had to sacrifice them as part of their strategic plan to win that battle. And but the thing is 2 people stayed behind in Honolulu. George, because of the political pull, and why my dad. His first name was Chester. Chester Nimitz was the admiral. George Bush, 17 years old, was supposed to ditch the plane in the ocean where there was a submarine waiting for him, to groom a war hero for political future. Well, what he did is when he ditched the plane, one of the crew members died in that. Ever since then, the rest of the guys hated George Bush for that because they knew it was a political stunt. It wouldn't have been so bad if it was just a stunt, but somebody got killed for it. And I thought, This guy's getting all these honors from dignitaries around the world. And my dad died in a nursing home, a substandard nursing home, forced there by Macomb County. But no, he came back home and he had a bar waiting for him.
And then he transitioned into a motel? Like one influenced the other? Or?
He was in his real estate office and his dad came in and said, "You just bought some property on Groesbeck. I went to a highway auction." And when he built it, it was Erin Township. Fraser annexed Erin Township, took it, because they wanted Groesbeck so they could screw everybody. Okay? Oh, you don't have your license plate light's not on, or you know. And then they started getting to where blacks couldn't come in here. It's a German town. Okay, I mean, come on, you don't. Everybody changed the street names from Adolf to Dolph. They didn't. Pulling people over that didn't deserve it, and they're still doing it to this day. They got themselves a female black police officer now, finally. Probably because of the stink that I started.
What was you know, the situation?
The chief called me into his office, and he told me he didn't want me to rent to blacks. And I had a sneaky suspicion that was going on because the places down the street, I knew they weren't full during the daytime, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I have a black couple come down here and say, "All those places tell me that they're full, they don't have any rooms." Like, yeah, sure. I said, "Come on, we gotta." That's when I was asked to go to the police station and have a talk, right? I basically told them to go pound some sand.
Fair enough.
And then a rain of shit came down on me after that. You know, these new motel owners, they all have the last name Patel. But all up and down Grand River, Michigan Avenue, they're all East Indian owned. I'm the last non-East Indian motel owner left. They bought the property across the street, and I got a call from them asking if I wanted to sell. I said no. They said, "Well then, we're going to buy the place across the street, build a motel, and we're going to put you out of business." I said, "Go ahead," because I knew Fraser does not want motels. You're wasting your time. You're not going to let you put a motel there. I ended up suing the city of Fraser. I got Alan Dershowitz, its partner. My son went to Harvard. So Alan Dershowitz at the time was a Harvard law professor. Mm-hmm. So my son approached him on the campus, and he told him everything that they're doing to me at the motel, pulling guests over for no reason. I just had one the other day. He was pulled over because the cops said that he spun his tire leaving here, okay? But he didn't realize this kid's uncle was a detective in East Point, so it got dismissed in court. And all he kept talking about when he pulled him over is what's going on at the Flamingo, what's going on? I saw you leave there, what's happening in there? I mean, they were pulling pizza delivery guys over and asking them what they saw. When they got their little badge, they had to swear an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and they break it every day. If you Google Earth, the Flamingo, not the recent picture, but the one previous, you'll see a cop across the street watching us. He was across the street at the motel across the street watching us. And I could see him right there. And I'm standing out by the sidewalk, by the curb, and I see 2 cars that were getting ready to leave. And they're going to go after him. Mm-hmm. I've got my camera out, video out, and I videoed the whole thing. As soon as they pulled out, and I told them, they're going to pull you over. So make sure you stop, right? And they did. They stopped, blinkered, the whole thing. And as soon as both of them, because they were following each other, got down into the curb lane and started to go southbound on Groesbeck, 2 patrol cars from across the street went right after them, chased them down. Well, there's something else that is involved here, and I don't know if I should talk about it. One of the patrolmen who ended up being the chief was saying, "Well, I used to be a cop up north, and we used to watch motels all the time, and as soon as they left, we'd pull them over." I'm thinking, did you just realize what you just said? You said you are admitting profiling. Blockheads.
Tell us a couple of the funnier, more lighthearted, or just crazy. You don't have to get into the sad stuff.
I've got serious ones, funny ones.
Nothing too serious or sad. Maybe, you know, some of the craziness and the funniness and, you know, what you might be thinking.
Well, the guy pulls up on a pickup truck. Now, this is 35 years ago.
Okay.
I'm talking here. Anyway, pulls up in a pickup truck and he's got a galvanized tub in the back of his pickup full of ice and a kegger. You pump it, you know. And he's middle-aged and he's got two, maybe 21, 22-year-old girls with him. Very attractive. He's in a room that's close enough to the office where you can see out the window of the car to go into the room. Like clockwork, every 20 minutes there'd be a naked girl come out of the room with a pitcher, jump in the back of that pickup truck to fill that with beer again. To go back in the room every 20 minutes.
It's a good view. Are we talking fully nude here?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. So when they're climbing up there, you're getting a nice few shots.
I'm like, wow, okay, whatever. I got stories that will put a chill down your spine.
Let's get one. Just
You
one?
want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
We used to have a guy that came in there and his last name was Stroh. Nice guy, real nice guy. He'd come in there all the time. One particular time, the maid walked in and he was deceased. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, he wouldn't smoke in the room. He'd go outside. And you ever see those silhouette of a cowboy leaning against the wall with their foot up against
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that was him without the hat.
Yeah, the hat.
Just
you gotta
a-
have that. Do you have spurs or no?
No, he used to be smoking a cigarette. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And that's how I remember him. A month or so, maybe 3 months go by. This guy pulls up, black guy, under the underhang, and a patrol car right behind him with the lights on, takedown lights. And he pulls right under the underhang. And I thought, oh shit. He saw him pulling in here, he's gonna give him a hard time, right? So the cop gets out, goes over, and he walks up to him, and the guy says to him with a heavy Jamaican accent, says, what you mean, what am I doing here? He says, what, you want to join me? And I thought, oh, he's going to jail now. That cop, his face turned white, and he turned around, got in his cop car, backed up and left. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here, right? Well, we happened to rent this guy that same room. Didn't see this guy the whole time he was there. Never saw him, never came out of the room. And that night I was training a new maid, a night maid, okay? It was our first night there. And I'm on the desk, there it is, about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning again, all right? I get a frantic phone call from the laundry room saying, I quit, I'm getting out of here, I'm not staying here anymore. I'm like, whoa, calm down, what is it? She says, I just saw a ghost. God damn it, I just saw a ghost. I said, whoa, calm down. I said, what did you see? And when she described it to me, man, I got a chill right up my spine and the back of my head. She described Brian Stroh leaning against that brick wall with one foot on the sidewalk, the other like that, with a cigarette. She says it was all smoke. There was even smoke coming off the cigarette, but it was all smoky. And she was afraid to leave the laundry room. I had to get her out of the laundry room and walk her to her car. But when she described it, she described them. And I thought, what the hell? This guy is in that room. It's the only night this happened. Heavy Jamaican accent. And when I was in Guyana, they call it obia. They don't call it voodoo. And I don't know, he made that cop walk away. You know, and I thought, wow, that's freaky. The guy that helped me get out of Guyana, okay, I ended up getting my money back. But there was a Chase Manhattan charged 20%. This is how I found out that they said that I was sent there by Reagan as a CIA agent, right? And the embassy, said yes to that when I asked
You think they said yes just because they wanted to fuck with the Guyana people?
Yeah,
And
they said that.
Oh, you're gonna ask them
And
a
they didn't
question?
give a
Yeah.
shit what it did to my,
You could be gone in
stance
a
of being
day.
there, right?
Yeah.
So they started following me, and it screwed me all up. I got a call from him in Toronto, the guy.
That helped you.
They helped me
Yeah.
get out of there. And he says, I want to take the train to Windsor, and I want to come visit you. I said, okay. He gets on a train.
Did you feel like you were close with him like that?
No.
Or? No.
I was too curious. I had
Yeah.
to find out. When I went to Windsor to the train station, I picked him up. He brought me a gift. And it was a 5-foot stuffed caiman, which is an alligator. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this thing, right? We went through the tunnel. We come out on the Detroit side. And sure enough, the guy says, what's your citizenship? I said, U.S. He says, damn, he says, Guyana. He says, pull over here. You know? So we go in this room, and they find this caiman, and it was a new guy. And he didn't know what to do. His superior wasn't there. So they had me and this guy sitting there. And I really didn't know this guy. Finally, I'm thinking, I'm not going to sit here forever. He's got my caiman sitting on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to look in it, but didn't know how. He thought we were smuggling something in it. And I'm thinking to myself, shit, I hope this idiot didn't smuggle something in it.
Yeah.
I don't even know this guy, and here he's got a caiman sitting on the desk here in front of this guy. So I just said to the guy, I said, hey, are we under arrest? I said, you have our information. Are we under arrest? He says, no. I said, I'm leaving. This guy stood up, and he pulled out this huge Bowie knife, like this big. It was in the back of his pants the whole time.
They didn't search you guys or anything?
Huge
Oh
knife.
my gosh.
Not me. I'm talking about the customs
Yeah.
guy.
The customs guy had the
Customs
knife?
guy had this huge knife.
Not your friend?
No, my friend,
Okay.
no. He pulls out this huge knife, he turns that caiman upside down, and he slammed that knife right under its chin and ripped it apart, and he's pulling newspapers out before we could get to the door. That's all that was in there, lucky for me.
It was legitimately just a stuffed gator that he got you.
Yeah. Now it's no good. He just
No.
tore the shit out of it
Yeah.
with a knife.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Guyanese government asked the U.S. Embassy if I was sent there by Reagan because they got refused their $7 million. They said yes, that I was. He told me that.
Well, did he stay with you? Did he stay at the motel? Did he
Yeah, I
stay
ended
with
up
you?
staying at the motel. Really, what we need to do is make a movie about that motel. Since it's the Flamingo Motel and a dead woman, right? The news gets cute and comes up with a dead hooker found in a dumpster. You know, 2, 4, and 7 are across the street trying to film this huge story. One of the cops gets on television, and I'm watching him, and he says, there's something really wrong going on over at that motel. On television. Like, are you kidding me? This could happen anywhere.
She wasn't a hooker?
No, she was the guy's girlfriend.
Well, do you have a more lighthearted, funny one before we
lighthearted.
kind of wrap it up here? Jeez, my face, that was slightly morbid.
I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one on my next trip here. How's that sound?
That sounds good to me. That sounds completely fair.
Gonna wrap it at some point?
You're
We have
never-
like 2 hours of footage.
I got 50 hours more.
Give me an out on one, and let's wrap it up here.
That sounds good to me. You have a lot of incredible stories. I didn't even get to go through, well, I think my points, and I kind of figured that was, kind of what was going to happen.
I didn't tell you the story about the birds.
We'll save it for next time.
We'll save it for next
Save it
time.
for next
it's
time.
a good one.
That sounds good to me.
It's kind of like Alfred Hitchcock's movie, The Birds.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds intense.
It's intriguing.
Everybody, Eric the Motel Owner, I don't think that we could have gotten these kind of stories from anyone else. So we have the Big Arcadia next, and we're very excited to have you back on. Thank you very much, Eric.
Great. I'll be back. If you
Oh, definitely.
call me back, I'll be here.